The Eightfold Path of Buddhism is right view, right resolve, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and samadhi, intense concentration through spiritual fasting. The first question that arises for me is, what's the difference between right and wrong? How can I know one from the other? A psychopath doesn't know the right way to treat himself. A sociopath doesn't know the right way to treat others. As someone diagnosed paranoid schizophrenic, I need to know both. The Buddha avoided this issue, but I can't, having witnessed psychopathic and sociopathic behaviors in myself. I had to question good and evil to learn right from wrong, without feeling so guilty all the time. Adam and Eve covered their genitals once they felt exposed before one another. They concealed their whole body from God by running and hiding from him behind trees in the Garden of Eden when they heard him approaching. And each of them defended themselves vociferously when confronted by him. Adam blamed God for giving him Eve, and Eve blamed the serpent for beguiling her. These are examples of the sorts of behaviors we associate with denial of guilt. Covering our genitals is a sign of embarrassment of our body. Hiding from others is a sign of shame of our character. And blaming others instead of ourselves is a humiliating way to behave before the Lord who witnesses it all. But we see people in one or another of these three states of guilt all the time. The whole world is filled with people who deny their embarrassment, shame, and humiliation. So how do we learn the difference between right and wrong? The answer is with pain and suffering. Negative experiences reinforce the feeling of guilt. If you don't admit your guilt, you behave ignorantly. Some people only get better at concealing how infantile, childish, and juvenile they are because they don't contemplate what they've learned about guilt over their lifetime. And when the curtain comes down, they're left with the scant knowledge they've gleaned about themselves in the time given, and they're afraid of death and what comes next. So before we can study the Eightfold Path of the Buddha, we have to learn the meaning of the word right, and we have to learn how to achieve knowledge of what's right. Having done so, these 8 steps will then become enormously powerful and important. Good thoughts? We'll talk again tomorrow.